Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We are, of course, talking wrestling news primarily here, but there'll still be plenty of news to cover regardless. Our top story is as regards the launch of WWE Raw on Netflix. We're going to talk through the rumoured appearances, the rumoured exclusive deals, and the rumoured surprises. We are going to, of course, be talking about The Rock, Roman Reigns, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and many others who've been missing recently, so there's plenty to dive into there. We're also going to be talking Indy Hartwell training with AEW stars. She's been training with Mercedes Money, and what does that mean? We're going to talk a little bit about current use of social media. For example, you may notice we are now on YouTube and on Twitch and not on Twitter again. There is a reason for that. It was a dip your toe into it, and there's a reason that we're not really putting much focus on Twitter anymore. We're going to talk Josh Alexander and why he's stopped taking dates. We're going to talk Tegan Knox and the deal that fell through between WWE and Attack. We're going to talk Shinsuke Nakamura returning to the ring and who he's replacing quite late in the day. And a little bit about a WrestleVotes report about the Motor City Machine Guns being surprisingly popular. In addition to that, of course, we'll be answering as many of your questions as we can. So please do stick around and ask. Make sure to hit like, 2 more guesses to 20, and let's get to our top story. The WWE, particularly Triple H, today announced that the first Raw on Netflix at the beginning of January will take place at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California. The WWE are already expecting the event to be a sellout and to be a monster show. There's a number of people who've already been confirmed as appearing. Roman Reigns will be appearing despite it being on Raw. There is an intention at this point, instead of making him exclusive to Raw, they will have him in that period working both shows. But when it comes to after WrestleMania, then he will likely become exclusive to Raw in the trade-off. John Cena is also expected to be there. The WWE have confirmed that John Cena's final tour, the final run that comes with 2025, will start on Netflix. There's also a number of others who are being rumoured. Becky Lynch is being rumoured at the moment. I can confirm, of course, that she is intending to return. She did make this clear. I've been reporting this for a number of months now, but Becky Lynch herself pointed out in a recent interview at Vulture Festival that she will indeed be returning and has some unfinished business with the WWE. A very strong deal is in place, and there is an option available for her to return at the first Raw on Netflix. In addition to that, The Rock has been approached by the WWE. The Rock has not committed his time, but storylines and creative are already being put together that include a Rock appearance on the first Raw of Netflix. The appearance way back at Bad Blood was not with any actual intention. He appeared to basically pop a rating, to get people talking. There was not an original plan for him to do so until he became available at the last moment. So that's why he was there. His initial first planned return was going to be for Netflix. So I expect to see The Rock, I expect to see Becky Lynch, I expect to see John Cena, and I expect to see Roman Reigns all returning and appearing either at the Netflix show or in the lead up to the Royal Rumble. That's when I expect to see those names appearing. I'm going to catch up with the chat now, and then we'll get to a little bit on Alexa Bliss before we move on to Indy Hartwell from there. So plenty to discuss. If you do have questions, be sure to drop them in the chat. One thing which basically keeps this channel going, which keeps us growing, you can hit like, a little thumbs up goes a long way, or you can drop something in the chat, even if it's just a hi, even if it's just an emoji, even if it's just a wave. Every little thing does help the chat rate boost. There's a couple of people, Joe I know, make sure to say hi to everyone. It guarantees the growth of this channel, even if you're just literally saying hello to each other. So I very much appreciate you all for doing so. Sean says hi Tom on the Twitch side. Also says Becky said on her panel at Vulture Fest she isn't going out with Dominic slamming a cage door in her face, and there is no intention to do so. Bailey says Becky should be in movies. I believe so far she's only been in the one, but we'll see a lot more of that in the near future. Sean says I think that Becky confirmed she's retired. Maybe Liv can stop saying she retired. Becky, Liv is a heel. If you don't like that she's saying that, she's doing something right. Bliss Gamer says, ooh, Alexa Bliss talk, so exciting. They will indeed. And Juan says, let's go. Welcome, Juan. Liam says, hello, Tom. Do you expect The Rock to turn up at Survivor Series? Personally, I do not. Though I do think this time around, the good guys may win. Spider-Man says, small detail from last week's SmackDown was when Roman called Paul Heyman. Heyman didn't answer. Months ago, when Solo and Tama Tonga took out Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa stomped Heyman's phone when Heyman was calling Roman. And Paul Heyman, as we know, could not afford to get another phone since. Michael says, hi Tom, welcome Michael. Amari says, hey Tom, welcome Amari. Plenty of people on both sides now, both Twitch and of course on YouTube as well. We've just hit 30 likes, which is a good number for 5 minutes in. We can do better. Let's keep that going. There's 68 people watching. I'm sure we can get up to 50 likes. Double check for me, just make sure. HCar says, hi Tom, how are you doing? Doing very well, thank you HCar. Welcome to the show. Declan says, hi Tom, hope everyone had a great weekend. I had a good one, thank you. Nice and chill, a really chill Saturday. Chris says, caught a live stream. Hello chat. Hello Chris. And Sam says, is Seth the fifth man of Team Roman? Now, as regards Team Roman, I wasn't sure they were going to go in that direction, but clearly they have, with Bronson Reed joining. That does then, of course, suggest that we are going to get Seth Rollins, but for me, that doesn't make that much sense. Seth Rollins might hate Bronson Reed right now, but he's hated Roman Reigns for years, and I just don't see that one coming around, especially with what's happening with Kevin Owens. In many ways, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins are on the same page here. Kevin Rollins, I nearly said that. For me, the obvious choice for fifth member, particularly in the absence of Kevin Owens, is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has, of course, already tagged with Roman Reigns. He's been sort of rescued by Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. There is a connection there, and I do feel this really helps round him as a character. He's a bit dense. He's a bit gullible. I like it. I genuinely like it. I feel it does really expand on his character. You guys really took up that mantle. From 30 likes to 37 in 1 minute. 3 more to 40. We are absolutely flying. And just like that, we've got 5 more viewers, up to 73. You see that impact? It's big, isn't it? Unique Unicorn says, hello Tom. Hello Unique Unicorn. What a unique name. HCar says, any news on Braun Strowman? He back. And he ready to rumble. Liam says, who do you expect Cena's first feud to be? I think there's a few good options. I do think there's going to be a feud between he and LA Knight. And I do think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be right there. There will be some AJ Styles involved once he recovers. I do know a lot of people are pushing for a Randy Orton or a Gunter. Personally, I think we will get John Cena versus Kevin Owens early on for it. HCar says, do you think Alexa Bliss and Carmella will show up on the first Raw on Netflix? More on that very shortly. Spider-Boss says, according to Mike Johnson from PWInsider, Roman Reigns and Cody wouldn't move to Raw when Raw debuts on Netflix in 2025. Both men have been advertised to appear at the event. Bailey says, with The Rock's last film bombing at the box office, he may need the WWE if Hollywood offers start to dry up. In many ways, the WWE will guarantee there is always interest in The Rock. Good afternoon, Dawn. Good to see you. Liam says, Cody, Punk, Braun and Gunter is who I want Cena to feud with. Punk versus Cena has, of course, been mentioned. Aleph says, do you know if there's an extra fee to pay for WWE on Netflix or not? Personally, I do suspect we are going to move towards a model whereby live sports content on Netflix is coming with an extra premium. I expect it to go up a little bit. Liam says, has Logan Paul being considered to feud with Cena? That's been mentioned a couple of times. Yes, Logan Paul versus John Cena is something they want to make happen, but Logan Paul, of course, needs to renew his contract first. Cecil says, hi Tom, what's up with the Travis Scott other than the first Raw? Well, he's apparently the new hardcore champion. In reality, Triple H is just guaranteeing a relatively big name to make this one pop. Declan says, great news as a Becky Lynch fan. Glad you're happy, mate. I'm a big Becky Lynch fan myself. Chris says, Bayley last Friday made history with her 684th win, tying Natalya for most wins in women's history. Personally, I expect Natalya to get one out of nowhere and then Bayley to overtake her forever. Spider-Boss says it would be cool to see Heyman returning at Survivor Series War Games alongside Roman. Sid says, I think Paul Heyman will return and join the new bloodline. Okay, let's ask this question because people are really into this. Let's ask the question. Do you see Paul Heyman returning at Survivor Series, before Survivor Series, or after Survivor Series? King Azza says, Tom, do you see Paul turning on Roman at Survivor Series? Well, he'd need to be there first. Shah Games says, hi Tom, any news on Miro, or has he been relegated to Tony's island of expiring contracts? Pretty much, yeah. At this point, Miro's been kind of forgotten about, pushed to the back, and he'll be making no more appearances, it seems like. Entertainment says, I like the thought of Breaker being the fifth member. That'd be fun. I don't think Jey Uso would trust him. Spider-Boss says it's funny how Seth Rollins went from hating Cody in 2022 to now in 2024 Seth teamed up with Cody at WrestleMania. And while that is true, the hatred of Roman Reigns is a reason for that. Cecil says, how about Braun? He worked a dark match at SmackDown for the 5-man. Yep, Braun's back, and as I say, he's ready to rumble. Erin says, hope everyone has had a good day. Do you know anything about talks of Indy Hartwell being signed anywhere? Or are there any, I shall say? Let me get through my next piece of news, and then there is a bit on Indy Hartwell and intentions there. My next piece of news is as regards Alexa Bliss. Much of what I'm about to say is clarity on what I've already said, but with a little extra. Alexa Bliss, as I previously reported, has been waiting on the WWE to present a cohesive plan for her creative return. She's communicated to the WWE that she's ready to go, and while there is a lot going on for her, and she has had a few medical complications, she is fit and firing. So there's a few different things happening. I do believe that Alexa Bliss is just waiting for everything to fall in line. I have been told a number of times that the Wyatt Six need to all be in place before Alexa Bliss returns. Personally, I do think she'll be back in early 2025. Creative do have a WrestleMania plan for her. What I've been told is that she's ready, willing, and able. So personally, when it comes to Alexa Bliss, I'm very excited for her return. There is a lot of little medical issues that have been popping up, but nothing particularly serious. WWE are confident she'll be available and will have something ready for her creatively very soon. As regards Indy Hartwell, of course, a question just came out. Indy Hartwell has been training with Mercedes Money and with Bayley, and there are rumours of a AEW trial being offered in that time. Now, Indy Hartwell cannot wrestle for AEW, and that includes wrestling for a trial, but certainly she can train with a member of their staff, and Mercedes Money is said to be trying to make a signing happen. Mercedes Money is eager to work with Indy Hartwell. She's eager to spend time with Indy Hartwell, and Indy Hartwell being a member of Mercedes' faction as it continues to grow would be a very good thing for Mercedes Money. The idea that's being pitched does result in TBS championships for Indy Hartwell. There is at this point in time, while there is a feud for Julia Hart incoming, there is at this point in time an intention to have Mercedes Money become the record TBS champion. That won't be easy. She basically needs it for another year, but the intention seems to be to erase Jade Cargill's record. Can't say as I'm too surprised by that one, unfortunately. Blue welcome says, hi Tom, genuine question, do you watch Raw and SmackDown? You seem to really question War Games being 5v5, but it was obvious from the shows. Triple H made finding the fifth a storyline. I did really question that. I do watch both Raw and SmackDown, though I will say, because of my day job and my full time and the fact that I'm doing a lot of renovations right now, I don't manage to watch all of it. So I do think it's a fair comment, and it's fair to call me out for that. I do the best I can with the time I've got, but I do have my limitations on it. I wasn't sure, it didn't make too much sense to me, but here we are. And as you say, it was clear that it was coming. I just may have missed something along the way. Bad Boy says, in which pay-per-view Alexa will be returning in your opinion? Did you see her last tweet? Of course I saw her last tweet, I'm a big fan. Personally, as I say, I expect her to be in and around Royal Rumble time, though I'm only aware of creative for WrestleMania. Joshua says, will Netflix get their streaming issues in order before Raw goes to streaming? Yes, absolutely. There are a number of different things which are currently happening with Netflix. As I've been mentioning, the reason we're seeing a lot of live sports on Netflix is because they're testing the water to see what they can manage. The WWE are concerned about the buffering issues. However, the amount of viewers watching that boxing match is nowhere near the amount of people who will be watching WWE Raw. So Netflix will have more bandwidth, but they're not particularly concerned. If anything, this makes a very strong case to increase the costs. JJ says, hey Tom, when Becky signs a new contract, do you know if she will have limited dates? I know limited dates have been part of the negotiations. I don't know if they will be part of the final deal. Declan says, no Raw women in the bracket for the United States Championship. I'm confident their own championship is coming. This guy says, do you think Bronson Reed and Seth being the fifth men will end up being a red herring? Not at this point. Bronson Reed seems fairly set, though I do think Cody is more likely. Hector says, I still have Seth as the fifth member. I'd rather Cody not be on the card than to have him in a throwaway match that doesn't directly involve him at the moment. To be fair, War Games isn't necessarily a throwaway match. Bailey wants Heyman at Survivor Series. Cecil wants him before. Chris wants him after Survivor Series. A lot of variation there. King Azza says I've seen him returning to SmackDown after Survivor Series. Kai's excited for LA Knight and John Cena working together, says they'll have great promos against each other. H-Car wants Paul Heyman to return at Survivor Series. Sean says, do you think Bailey wins the women's US title? Personally, I do not. I think there are better options, and I do see a WrestleMania feud between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Spider-Man says 12 years since the Shield debuted on WWE, multi-time world champions, Grand Slam champions, and WrestleMania main events. One of the most successful groups in history, no doubt whatsoever. And Mary says, I think Punk could be the 5th member. Certainly, that would rile up a Seth Rollins. 91 people watching on YouTube, 47 likes, 3 more gets us to that 50, a nice round number that I always enjoy. Sean says Alexa did respond to a fan who asked when she's coming back. Alexa responded, it's not up to her. And it's not. As I say, a large part of this is waiting for the creative to be in place and her own medical issues, which have been popping up. David says, do you think Tony Rope is a good name for a wrestler? No. Because if he goes to the top rope, that's just going to be awkward. Mary says, is Roman moving to Netflix for good in January? I did cover that in our top story. Zip back to the beginning and you'll find it right there. Sid said the YouTube stream is going perfect. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate it. Irish says, Mondays are for the pigs. Good to see you, Tom. A lot of things happening right now with Joe Gacy, isn't there? A lot of things happening with Joe Gacy. Christopher says, I want Sky Blue to take the TBS Championship from Mercedes Money. Might take a while. What's up, KJ? Good to see you, mate. Spider-Boss says, Seth Rollins turned on Roman years ago, but Seth hates Roman. Roman lost the WWE Undisputed title because he focused on Seth. Yeah, they hate each other. Dawn, as regards Braun Strowman, he's back. He's ready to rumble. Sid says, are you getting a lot of followers on Blue Sky? Yes, I would say that I am. I'll get into that in a bit more detail in a moment once I've caught up. But Blue Sky so far has been very good to me. Michael says, did WWE block Tegan from wrestling in the UK? I do have more news on that to come. Sledgehammer says, hi Tom, did you say... I may have said that. I mean, you can always rewind and just double check, Sledgehammer. Death Metal Lad says, hello again, Tom. Hello again, Death Metal Lad. And Rickon says, Tom, do you think Seth will throw up the ones with the OG bloodline? Hell no. Hell no. Spider-Boss says, Jade Cargill's record with the AEW TBS Women's title is 508 days. Mercedes being AEW TBS Women's Champion for a full year is cool, in my opinion. Hector says, looks like that Shinsuke returning news was a couple of weeks late, but who's counting? Just glad to see him back. I did see Fightful Select behind their paywall reporting that this had been the plan for a couple of weeks. So, like, of course it was. If it was like the immediate plan, he wouldn't have been there to make it happen. Of course it was. I don't understand news sometimes. Christopher says, I still have Bailey winning the United States Championship. KJ celebrating the chat rate. Always do, mate. Always do. I can literally see the viewership going up and up and up as the chat rate goes up, as the likes go up. It does make a massive difference. Spider-Boss says, I think it's most likely we see Cody versus Kevin Owens at Survivor Series rather than Cody joining the OG Bloodline for War Games, well then for Saturday Night Main Event. Liam says, do you expect Gacy to turn the Wyatt 6 in the future? I've gone into a lot of detail as to what I expect for the Wyatt 6. Just do a search on the channel, Liam, and you'll find plenty of it. Shara Game says, Paul Heyman did have 2 phones around Mania, one for Roman and one for The Rock. And maybe The Rock line wasn't disconnected and he now has his wise man. The Rock don't need no wise man. This guy says, have you changed your mind about Josh Alexander leaving TNA after he announced he will no longer take independent bookings moving forward? Yes and no. So you're asking me something I've got a bit of news on. He did say that he had stopped taking independent dates simply because he was no longer looking to do that much travelling. That doesn't necessarily mean he's leaving TNA, though of course it does suggest a WWE move. TNA and AEW are both open to allowing people to work independent dates. It is WWE that is not. So it does suggest potentially a move to that. WWE and TNA do have a deal in place for recruitment and development purposes. That sort of threatens to move TNA back into the number 2 spot ahead of AEW, which is sort of their plan as much as anything. As regards Josh Alexander, I'm still not, to my knowledge, aware that he's planning to leave TNA. We'll see how that goes. A little bit then on use of social media and platforms at the moment. You'll notice at the moment I'm only streaming on YouTube and Twitch. I have for the last 2 weeks been also streaming on Twitter. There is a reason for that. Twitter's a hellscape. Twitter's a dumpster fire. Moving on from Twitter is kind of what I'm doing. I'm still keeping a rough eye on it because why not? It does have a lot of news, but I'm not really posting much there. The reason why? I'm kind of all in on Blue Sky. I'm kind of liking it. Blue Sky at the moment, I've been there for 4 days and I've so far accrued 387 followers. If you've not followed me on Blue Sky and you have a Blue Sky account, pop on over, do a search for Colohue, Colohue, and you will find me. If I'm able to, by the end of day 4, have 400 followers, reckon that's a good day. Reckon that's a very good day, in fact. And hey, we don't know what's happening since I've been live. Got a couple of notifications. No DQ, sharing my stuff about Alexa Bliss. Always good. In fact, we've gone up by the 388 followers now. Some of the different platforms are doing extremely well. And that growth has been very valuable. Not only that, but with 388 followers, my engagement actually isn't far away from Twitter where I have nearly 10,000. I'm quite enjoying this. In addition to that, I'm now eligible for TikTok Live. So, starting on Friday, I will be going live on TikTok alongside this show. TikTok, a week ago, had 302 followers. I now have 495. So you will note I've been trying to use a few different platforms in a few different ways, and it's paying off. On both of these platforms, TikTok and Blue Sky, I'm aiming for 500 followers by Friday. I'm taking small victories and I'm enjoying them. One of the concerns I have at the moment is that I know a lot of people who are experiencing some issues with Twitch. So Twitch is one of the platforms I'm on as we speak, YouTube being the other one, and Twitch doesn't seem to be paying out anymore. Meanwhile, after hitting a million views, YouTube is currently unmonetized. So I'm not making money right now, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm looking to do is grow. Twitter isn't helping me grow. Blue Sky is helping me grow. Blue Sky, as the numbers go up, is giving me more viewers on these streams. TikTok is doing much the same. And I've got to say, I'm quite enjoying it so far. If you've not yet done so and you have an account on Blue Sky, pop on over and find me. Also, if you haven't already, TikTok, Tom Colohue, check it out. We're able to post a lot of stuff that was on the shorts on YouTube previously, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. We still have some news on Tegan Nox, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm going to catch you with the chat before we do get into that. We have 54 likes now, 95 viewers. If we get up to 60 likes, we'll probably hit 100 viewers as well. So please do consider doing so. Spiderball says it would be cool to see Indy Hartwell join Mercedes' group in AEW. I remember Mercedes said Camille was just phase 1 of her group, Money Corporation. That is indeed the plan. Cecil says the Shield are horsemen of the apocalypse. As it says, I think Seth being on Roman's team is very interesting because Roman still hates Seth for causing him to lose his championship at WrestleMania 40. Yeah, it's confusing. Declan said, did anyone notice that Sami Zayn threw a phone on the couch on SmackDown? Is he turning on the bloodline? No, it was a TV remote. David said, is WWE Network closing and Netflix taking all WWE Network content? That is something they're considering. That is what I expect to have happen, yes. The Rabbit says, I got Naomi winning the women's US title. And Jamie says, that's why we should watch The Pig. Liam says, Cena, Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, CM Punk, all in one Rumble. That's unbelievable. It is. When you consider as well, we're likely going to get Kevin Owens in there. We're likely going to get Seth Rollins in there. A lot of big names. Sean says, do you know why we haven't seen any TNA talent on NXT recently? They're basically going in fits and bursts. That's the intention. They're not going to overdo it and oversaturate it. They're going to focus on their own people. Then they're going to bring a few in. You'll probably see Jordan Grace signing soon. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you. That says, big up Tom, when do you think Punk will be back? Also, when do you see the Bucks returning? Rumour was he was going to be back for Survivor Series, but that doesn't seem to have happened at this point. As regards to Young Bucks, I don't really expect them this year. Maybe the last couple of weeks. David says, how long has Blue Sky been going for? It was invite only for about a year already. In fact, more than that, nearly 2 to be honest. But they've been honing it, and it's really starting to come into its own now. Christopher says, Bayley or Jade Cargill will win the Women's United States Championship. Wiggler says, if Dana White using UFC to espouse his pro-Trump views and giving Trump a prime platform, should we be worried this might happen on WWE? Yeah. One says, back in 2022, Tegan Nox did have interest in AEW, but they never approached her. Do you think they'll approach her this time? I'm not sure. There are a lot of concerns over her injury record, unfortunately, and that is working against her. So, Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox was not being used by the WWE, and because of this, she started speaking to Triple H and his subsidiaries to try and get something over the line that would allow her to wrestle and prove to them that she was not going to get injured. This is why a match was put together for Attack, which is a UK-based promotion. At the last minute, the WWE had to pull that match because, per their own terms, Tegan Nox's non-compete clause now prohibits her from wrestling elsewhere for 3 months. So the WWE kind of gave her a double whammy for Tegan Nox. There are a number of promotions, particularly UK-based promotions, that want to bring in Tegan Nox, allowing her to essentially prove that she can wrestle without being injured. Unfortunately, when it comes to the insurance policies, they're not willing to cover her. And that's where things get more difficult. I do think Tegan Nox will get offers. I'm not sure if AEW will be one of the places that provide them. Spider-Boss says, do you think it's getting repetitive, Liv and Nia winning because of outside interferences? Yeah, kind of boring. Liam says, do you expect Cena to be in the Elimination Chamber match? Wouldn't expect it, but I would like it. David says, Sky News reported Blue Sky spark end of Elon Musk's social media platform. That depends. A lot of people are really ingrained in Twitter, but I'm expecting people to be leaving it in droves. I kind of am leaning that way myself. So advertisers won't get the hits anymore. And that's going to cost Elon Musk money. Thankfully, it doesn't really bother him because he doesn't really care about Twitter anymore. He doesn't. He's busy being Donald Trump's pet. Matter says Twitter will become the new 4chan. Shargame says, do you expect Journey Fatu to be signed by the WWE for Bloodline 3.0? I don't think they're going to sign every single Samoan, but a lot of people seem to think they will. Spider-Boss says Roman doesn't like Cody and he teamed up with Cody. Roman and Seth working together despite both hating each other will be fun to watch. Sid says Jordan Grace will be a big loss for TNA, and I don't disagree. Sean says, I don't see Bianca or Jade winning in the tournament because of Liv and Raquel. I agree with that, but I do think come WrestleMania, one of them will have that belt. Liam says, will AEW approach Baron Corbin? A number of promotions have already approached Baron Corbin. He's in high demand. He's very well thought of in wrestling, and I do expect him to be wrestling again in a couple of months. Mary says, hey Tom, who do you have winning the Rumble? Some say Punk will win. Personally, I very much have Drew McIntyre winning the Royal Rumble. Jet says, hi Tom, thoughts on the new Hardcore Championship and Travis Scott? I don't know him, but the championship looks interesting. Horror Kingman says, any news on the IC Women's Championship? Are they going to see how the Women's United States Championship does before they introduce it? Pretty much, yeah. Balor Club Guy says, hey Tom, I'm going to Saturday Night Main Event next month and looking forward to it. With no PLE in December, I think WWE will stack the card. What matches would you book for it? There are going to be top championship matches, top to bottom, and I'm excited for that. Wiggly says, do you think you'd be put off watching WWE if Dana White decided to make it a more pro-Trump platform? Dana White has no control over the WWE in any way, shape or form. Horror Kingman says, when do AEW stop using ex-WWE stars, make their own stars like MJF? I think that works better for them. They will continue to bring in top-level stars because they're top-level stars. It doesn't matter where they worked before. They already have a name and they will bring viewership. They are still trying to develop their own stars. Daniel Garcia, for example. MJF, as you've mentioned. And there's a number of others on the way. Darby Allin also getting a decent push pretty consistently. So I do think they're working on who they have. Mariah May doing brilliantly. But they're also respecting that you can sort of play the cheat code every now and then and bring in an already ready-made star. Spider-Boss says, I thought Liv versus Rhea at Bad Blood was bad. Tyson versus Jake Paul was even worse. Yeah, as a wrestling match went, boxing match was very bad. Sid says, what is your favourite and worst storyline in 2024? Pardon me, in WWE? I don't really have the inclination to pick horrible options. I think there's been good stuff. I think there's been bad stuff. I think Sami Zayn versus Gunter was very well played. I think there's been feuds which have gone absolutely nowhere. I think AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes just didn't ignite. I don't think there's been anything to call it like terrible. Liam's big on Solo. Who knew? Declan says, I think Roman and Steph will work on Survivor Series. It was a year ago Charlotte and Becky was in a team that had real heat. Liam says you can choose to either have Will Ospreay or MJF on WWE. Who do you pick? Will Ospreay. He would suit the style a lot better, particularly with the Seth Rollinses. Christopher says Bayley versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Sean says, how do you think Saraya has been booked since joining AEW? Well, she won championships. Not well, she's not there. The Rabbit says, is Saturday night's main event going to be like a WWE retro show? No, it's going to be a very modern PLE event. Wiggly thinks the best storyline has been Cody finishing his story. Spider-Man says, do you think WWE fumbled Chad Gable and Otis? Yeah. Hugely. Sid says, if you could only watch Raw or SmackDown NXT, which would you watch? SmackDown. SmackDown for me feels like home. Bam Bam says, it's awesome to see WWE coming to Spain. I mean, there's good stuff coming all over internationally. Mary says, will Bronson Reed be a permanent fix in Bloodline 2? Nope. And Wiggly says, Saraya got to win the title at Wembley in front of her family and home crowd. It's gone well for her. So, next piece of news. Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura has been brought in a very specific position to work with LA Knight. He is considered an experienced hand and a consequential win for his opponent, but he's not being considered to be a threat. There are no major plans for a push for Shinsuke Nakamura, even if he does come away with a brief and forgettable United States Championship run. Triple H plans to add him to the newly built United States Championship division directly as a replacement for AJ Styles, and planning for this started being planned upon Styles being injured. Shinsuke Nakamura came in as a replacement. The planning for this did start many weeks ago, which is when PWInsider reported that he'd be coming back. They were wrong at that point, but he did, of course, eventually return. He is not going to be a serious contender for championships. The Rabbit agrees they fumbled Chad Gable badly. And Kingman says, do you think we get Judgment Day versus the Wyatt 6 before Judgment Day is over? Because I don't see this Judgment Day lasting. It already gets cold after Rhea and Damian Priest. There is going to be a clear split with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest having already left. Finn Balor, JD McDonough and Carlito becoming one faction. And then essentially NWO Wolfpack will be Dominic Mysterio, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. I don't see them working with Judgment Day because there just aren't enough women involved in Wyatt 6. Guy says, do you use a VPN? If you do, what one do you use? That is my personal internet security information, Kai. So I'm going to go ahead and not tell you which VPN I use because I don't want to become more hackable. Liam says, WWE fumbled the bag with Shinsuke, should have won the WWE Championship at Mania 34. I enjoyed the match. It's a shame he didn't win it. Hector says, speaking of AJ, is there any indication on whether his injury will keep him out of Mania altogether or no? I've been given no indication so far. Daz, on Blue Sky, let me actually get a link for you. Let me just get a direct link. So on Blue Sky, this is what I'm rocking. You should be able to click that and go straight to where I am on Blue Sky. Even if you're not logged in, you can still see what I'm doing there. So by all means, please do check it out. The Rabbit says, who do you see beating LA Knight? I honestly have no idea who. Personally, I think Andrade will be rushing to lose the Speed Championship so that he can become the United States Champion. Spider-Boss says, I thought American Made was going to be a modern version of Team Angle. Hasn't happened. Anything with American Made. Kind of forgot about him. No worries, Wiggly. I try and follow back where I can, anyone who's watching these shows. Hurricane Man says, what's next for the Bloodline after War Games? More Civil War. Hey Kelly, good to see you. Says, hey Tom, sorry I haven't been here in a while. No worries, Kelly. We never get upset if someone is living their own life, and you're entitled to do that. Welcome back. Ray says, will AJ Styles retire in TNA? Probably not. Liam seems excited by Andrade getting the US belt. Sean says, do you know if it's true that Rhea was going to be released after working with Charlotte? Nope. Absolutely not. And your source is someone on social media. No. There was no intention to release Charlotte. It just wasn't going to happen. Finally, WrestleVotes today reported that the Motor City Machine Guns are well liked backstage despite only being there a very brief time. What I would say in response to that is, of course they are. Sami Zayn loves these guys. If you want to be popular backstage, get in with Sami Zayn. It's also not particularly difficult. All you've got to do is basically donate some money to some of his favourite charities. Easy wins, mate. Easy wins. Villain says, hey Tom, it's been a while, hope you're well. Did you go over the Alexa news already? I did go back to about 10 minutes into the video, and it's all there for you. Sean says, who doesn't Sami Zayn love? AJ Styles. And, other people, plenty of other people. Hurricane Man says, do you think WWE will end the draft when Raw to Netflix? Looks like Netflix want top stars and USA also want top stars. Yes, but so have Fox historically as well. I don't think I've really watched during that period, Sid, so won't go that far. What's up, Calvin? Nice to see you, mate. We've gone over all of our news. To reiterate, follow me on Blue Sky. We're growing there. Follow me on TikTok. We're growing there. Target by the end of the week is to reach 500, and then next week, we go for 1,000. We're going to be doing good stuff over there, and we've already had more views on YouTube from Blue Sky than we've had on Twitter. So Twitter, kind of being lost in the shuffle. Still going to have one. Still going to try and draw attention there to the more profitable areas. Blue Sky's nice. I like it. What can I say? But I'm going to wrap it up there for now. Just say a massive thank you to all of you for joining. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.